Picture this. It's 10 p.m., you're sitting on the couch half asleep, and then suddenly your TV interrupts your show to ask, do you know where your children are? Like, excuse me, Channel 7, but why do you care? Turns out, those ominous little announcements and a wave of other PSAs weren't just about scaring parents. They were part of a decades-long campaign to make sure society stayed on the straight and narrow. Let's dive into the golden age of public service announcements, where the message was clear. You're not doing enough to avoid disaster. Welcome to Unusual Perusal, where we uncover the quirkiest stories from history, culture, and beyond. Today, we're tuning into the world of public service announcements, the TV spots that tried to scare, guilt, or charm us into being better people. And at the heart of it all, a simple but spine-chilling question. Do you know where your children are? Let's dig in. The phrase, do you know where your children are, first appeared in the early 1960s, a time when parents were clutching their pearls over the rise of juvenile delinquency. The announcement usually aired just before the 10 p.m. news, a gentle or not so gentle reminder that responsible parents shouldn't let their kids roam the streets late at night. The logic was simple. If your kids are out at 10 p.m., they're probably up to no good. The phrase caught on, becoming a nightly ritual in cities across America. And honestly, it worked. Kids started hearing that question as much as they heard eat your vegetables. But here's the thing. The Do You Know Where Your Children Are campaign wasn't just about keeping kids off the streets. It played into the era's growing anxiety about crime, youth rebellion, and let's be real, the fear that rock and roll was turning teenagers into heathens. The message worked because it hit where it hurt, parents' guilt. Nothing gets you faster than a question that makes you feel like you're slacking off. So here's where it gets unusual. While the message seemed straightforward, it was really about fear. Fear of crime, fear of kids going off the rails, and fear of losing control in a rapidly changing world. These PSAs weren't just reminders, they were low-key horror stories. The 10 p.m. warning wasn't just about bedtime, it was about imagining your kid in some shadowy alley making bad decisions. And hey, fear sells. If you scare people enough, they'll listen, or at least they'll feel too guilty not to. By the time the 1980s and 90s rolled around, the PSA game was booming. We got Smokey Bear telling us we're one match away from a forest fire, McGruff teaching us to take a bite out of crime, and of course, Nancy Reagan's Just Say No campaign. But what made these so effective was the same formula, a mix of guilt, fear, and catchy slogans. Whether it was the environment, drugs, or crime, PSAs evolved into mini movies that aimed to scare the public straight. But like all good things, or mildly terrifying things, the 10 p.m. announcement started to fade. By the 2000s, it felt a little outdated. Why? Well, the rise of cell phones and modern parenting meant you did know where your kids were. On the couch, texting their friends, or glued to the PlayStation. The world changed, and the nightly reminder felt like a relic of simpler and scarier times. Even though the announcement isn't as common today, its legacy lives on. It's a reminder of a time when the world felt a little more uncertain and fear was the easiest way to get people to pay attention. Whether it worked or just made you roll your eyes, one thing's for sure. It's one of the most memorable and haunting questions to ever come from a TV screen. And that's the story behind Do You Know Where Your Children Are? A simple question that packed a whole lot of guilt, fear, and nostalgia. If this trip down TV memory lane left you intrigued, hit that like button, subscribe, and join us next time for more tales that'll make you say, for real? Until then, stay curious, stay bold, and always keep perusing the unusual.